And Lee wrote in this question, Cora. It's an interesting problem. Lee has a rental property, many of our listeners may, and the renter just recently signed a lease option contract. So a lease option to buy contract. Lee says he went to an attorney and had the attorney draw up the contract, and he says it's all in one contract. He says now he's being told by a friend that it needs to be in two separate contracts, one for the lease and one for the option to buy. He's wondering, did the attorney make a mistake, and why should it be in two separate contracts? Can you illuminate
I
us?
would be happy to illuminate
Yes.
very brightly. Okay, so yes, great question. And first of all, I commend Lee on going to an attorney and seeking legal advice on that legal document to be drafted. So I can concur with the attorney that drafted it. We too drafted in one document, and here's why. I think oftentimes when you have related instances, in this case, the lease and then the option to purchase, and you separate those into different documents, they aren't incorporated with one another. Now, there's a number of things that can create inconsistencies and concerns for us. And of course, what if can one stand alone by the other? I mean, there's a lot of questions I think surrounding doing different documents. I prefer, and I'm a believer of having that embedded in one, again, because all the terms are there. There's no confusion. There's no missing documents. There's no room for misinterpretation. Also, just to explain for the listeners here, the lease, of course, is just as it would be anytime you lease something, it's a rental agreement. But the option to purchase, it's usually for a fee called an option fee that they would have the right to purchase at a later date under certain terms that have already been agreed upon. So they would exercise that right, that option to purchase according to the terms of that agreement that is included in their rental agreement. That can be contrasted with what's called a lease purchase and even a contract for deed, which are two totally separate and distinct concepts. So I definitely want to clarify that for the listeners. But again, lease option, love having that in one solid document.
And the one thing to stay away from, I would suspect, is by drawing it up yourself if you're not an attorney.
Absolutely. Right? And there's a number of other considerations. Do we need to run a title search on the property? Are we worried about, taking a property subject to any liens or encumbrances? Do we understand the obligations and the duties that we're binding ourselves to by signing that contract? And also just kind of understanding there's something else called equitable title, which is not legal title, but it's equitable title, and it can change with the position of the parties. So just lots of good room for discussion while you would engage an attorney and not go at it alone. Don't fall into the trap of Googling forms. No,
that is a problem. You heard it here, and you probably already know this if you had to deal with it. A reminder for everybody, if you'd like to see what sellers are saying about us, actually some interviews we've done, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com.